I be with my comrades. I be moving with my comrades. We be talking about big cash. We be rolling up hella grass. No numbers, you don't know the math. I be moving with my comrades. We be rolling up hella grass. We be talking about big cash. You don't know the numbers, no math. I'm so bossy, fool, get off me. Not about the chips, man, you lost me. Invest in funds and stocks and shit. I need big house, big rent, big chips, big dip. You could catch me doing what I do like every day. On the hustle like getting it like every way. I need 7 hustles for my meal to stack. I'm off up in the back, I'm trying to count some racks. I'm trying to blow some packs. I got the wood by the pack, and you can play this high level, it'll blow out your back. The game kinda crazy, tragic. I work this shit like magic. Mr. Houdini, trying to unlock Kundalini. Got girls coming out of bras in bikinis. Need the land dog, you could keep the Lamborghini. 707 Lounge, you should have seen me. Moving with my comrades. We be talking about big cash. We be rolling up hella grass. No numbers, you don't know the math. I be moving with my comrades. We be rolling up hella grass. We be talking about big cash. You don't know the numbers, no math.
11 million and you bring a tank. Over pocket change, that's the strange. Aneurysm, pop a vein. And you can feel the pain when I bust. It's strenuous, so yeah, it gets serious. You're bound to catch on fire when you mention this 7-star general. When you see me salute, shoot top, West Coast, mob top, standing on the roof. Usalama on standby, living like a bulletproof. Make me wanna bust. Don't make me grab my Yankee, get kinky, real freaky. Grab that bitch and squeeze the titty. Man, I swear it never gets pretty as ugly. I'm quick to grab your head and kick it off like rugby. Go ahead and find your spot. Think about it, elaborate. Before it's too late, it's your expiration date. Behind the black gate, it's the Mickey ears and Cinnabons. It's activated and you hate it cause I'm on one. I'm about to knock your head up to the white meat. The most electrifying, yeah, and they don't like me. I make you kiss my Nikes. I make you kiss my Nikes. I'm doing 100 in that 55, but turned it to a cat 5. Little Mikey didn't like it, that's a damn lie, man. I make you kiss my Nikes. I make you kiss my Nikes. If it's extravaganza, you can pass it. Catastrophic is the topic. Revolutionized frame of mind, rise and grind. With about 1 million gorillas, front line. Fuck that fork and spoon shit. I'm hungry than a motherfucker. I'm sucker ducking, chicken plucking. The big homie trying to beat that conviction, and he's still street politicking. I bought my chicken, I'ma throw it up in that deep fry. Keep my game solidified, that bullshit is minimized. Go ahead and blow some wind under my wings. Let them fly, young nigga. Let me fly off to better things. But I'm deep up in that jungle, babe boo. About to knock that shit up out the park, babe boo. I'm about to knock your head up to the white meat. The most electrifying, yeah, and they don't like me. I make you kiss my Nikes. I make you kiss my Nikes. I'm doing 100 in that.
Yeah, testing 1, 2. I'm the realest nigga alive. I'm the realest nigga alive. I'm the realest nigga alive. No, I'm the realest nigga alive. I'm the realest nigga alive. No, I'm the realest nigga alive. Yeah. I'm the realest nigga alive. I'm from Vallejo, California, where it's hard to survive. Some of my niggas didn't make it past age 25. My brother's locked up doing 160 to life. See, Fillion, I'm the realest nigga alive. I got your baby mama giving me some kid on live. She said I'll make her feel comfortable and don't know why. She said she usually don't do this, but I know she's alive. Still a nasty. I'm the realest nigga alive. I got my GED in prison when I'm doing my time. I used to hustle on the streets every day to survive. Now I got my own business running 3 websites. Yeah, nasty. I'm the realest nigga alive. I like to rap and make beats and smoke weed till I'm high. My fans tell me Thug Nasty, you're a talented guy. I motivate to create, that makes me happy in life. Yeah. I'm the realest nigga alive. 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 No, I'm the realest nigga alive. I'm the realest nigga alive. No, I'm the realest nigga alive. I'm the realest nigga alive. I'm from DC, that's where niggas survive. Shit might have slowed down, but still homicides are frequent. So many niggas locked up inside a precinct. Been locked up in jail a couple of times myself. Had to go through some trouble to find myself. I wish I could rewind myself and try and fix shit. Multiple man's therapy is writing sick shit. Right dope by the ounces, pounds and quarters. Superstar status for me is just around the corner. Never do things the cowardly way. I'm multiple man, 24 hours a day. My powerful display that you seen is strong. Wiggly asses is what I like to see in the thong. I'm a nigga that's right when I be in the wrong. Of course I'm real, you see I was asked to be in the song. I'm the realest nigga alive. No, I'm the realest nigga alive. I'm the realest nigga alive. No, I'm the realest nigga alive.
Sanctimonious shifts in the paradigm. Now I got no never mind. Used to be McClementine, fuck a Valentine. Solo grind, solo shine. MOB gospel, hostile, obstacle. Bitter in the birth canal. Baby's breath, Nazareth, chromosomes, lymph nodes, nervous system, genitals, menstruals, monsters, thought thieves, angels, demons. Enter out the protoplasm screaming. Open you for dreaming. Omega, Alpha, covert, doctors, chip installed, clone to Babylon, imposter. Eternal, external, Tau, universal, complexity of errors and night terrors. Junkie, mind monkey, motherfucker, father, fucker, sucker, sucker, Disney. Manifest the real, come with me to the nowhere, to somewhere, anywhere. This is how you start, and this is how you end there.
Get the fuck out, take your horse with you, and your conflict, delusional bullshit, dude. Yeah, you want the power, but it just don't fit you. You could blame the world, but the world won't persist you. Musta got it twisted, caught a little dose of reality, went ballistic. Starting all that shit, then portraying the victim, seeing right through it and getting the whole picture. Acting hella cool, then pressing all your issues I never wanted. Ain't pulling the weight that you claiming you're tugging. I think you're up to something, all that peace positive jargon's now garbage. Fraudulent action showing you're not a prophet. Double talking in circles to confuse people. It's all the ploy and a scheme for you to use people. Manipulator, so play your cards from afar. G, bring it low, then swing it over to the matriarch.
It's the Bakers, Louis V. Yeah. She been wondering about me, I've been wondering about bread. So long she got a pain in her head, don't worry about little me. I'm on the hustle like every other fucking week, no time for these. I'm trying to touch on them and laid up all night, baby, just not him. The Henny in my cup filled up to the brim. It might tip over, yeah, spill over. Life of a tycoon, stay on a tyco. Man, she think I'm cheating gun with psycho. Meanwhile, we're making maneuvers. Me and Louis V shit like manure. Oh, baby, it's all gravy. I'm married to the grind, cause that shit pays me. So you gon' be number 2? Under bread, yeah, that's my boo.
When you get your bread, quick line.
Same old rhetoric, different composition. I got the same message with new dimensions. Dream big and live large. I got my think tank on full supercharged. You thought it, I said it and spit it and did it. And now you won't forget it. Forced to be reckoned with, you'll be regretting it. The moment right after the moment you decide to step to this. Truth is, I'm chill about everything except for my flow. So if you feeling vulnerable, you might not want to go there. I was born with a sharp tongue, quick wit. I like to think it's all me, but I know I inherited it. Along with a hard head and an old soul. The road I traveled isn't easy, nor is it narrow. But I bust a hard left on the street called love. So now I'm just cruising with the bass turned up, turn up.
You already know.
This is our album and welcome to it.
Check it out, boom. Check it out, boom. Check it out, boom. Check it out, boom.
Play some rap music. Play some rap music. Play some rap music. Play some rap music. Play some rap music.
World premiere. World premiere. New age Scott. World premiere. Yo fam, I believe in you, never deceiving you. Believe it's true. No matter whatever the situation, no time for playing hating or naysaying. Feel me, bruh? Listen to the hook. I got your back when these fake ass thugs be hella shook. Look. No matter what the seasons be, if you're my family, I believe in you. Yo, G, please believe in me.
Yo, it's a given that as long as I've been living, ain't no grown man come over, visit, sit back and just listen like his whole program's depending on how this conversation goes. Soak it up just right and you'll be winning. No, I swear I heard that shit before, like I spilled that shit before. Pine salt and mixed it cleaned up off my kitchen floor. Matter of fact, where you been hiding your pen and paper at? Gaming verbatim, so where you hiding all the paper at? I know you been guapping off all them girls you been copping and shit you must have forgot. I wrote the rules, you got a copy, peeped your grown man exterior, but what's behind that? What I'm saying should put fear in you, cause I can take it back. My name in the game is to come completely original. Imitation is the lowest form of flattery to me. Imitation is the lowest form of flattery to me, cause boy, you got your game from me.
I'm a beast off the lease. I be standing in the streets, turned up like Chris Bosh. I be playing with the heat. Put my gun to the beat, cause I'm demanding to eat. I recite verses, I'm something like a priest. I'm in explosive mode, so I write to keep my head straight. Everybody telling me it's time for me to detonate. Way before FrostedFlakes.com being great. So I'm finna choke the rap game, I'm a fair snake. I spit game, I advise you to soak it. I was born a drug, got you feeling for a dosage. Foes so sick, I'm killing them, I'm the culprit. If it's for the mail, why stamping no posters? I'm Ghost Town finest. Bathgate mad hot, cause I'm on top. My head bigger than the mascot. Getting money in Oakland, I don't think a bad spot. 3 digits cold on a boat with a padlock. I strike with a flame, don't compare me to matches. Every time you see me, I be sticking like a cactus. Swag up the par, bitches on me like a jacket. It only take a call to get invited to their matches.
Yeah. Momo, this is slapper, my nigga. Yeah. Finna run this shit, come on. Do it. Niggas, bitches, gather round, get your game intact. And if you don't catch it the first time, you can play it back. When I'm done, one of the sickest ones to spit it raw. On my dick so hard, thinking you trying to get me jaw. Back, let me get stacks, proceed to roll sweets. In my face, it seem like you the type to speak to police. So you know I can't fuck with your conversation, spit a verse, roll or smoke a blunt with you. Too many big things on my plate, that's why I say my grace. And watch for cats trying to violate. I'ma wait in the cut, we gon' play through them up. He gon' be like, nigga, please. I'ma be like, nigga, what? Step your game up, that's how you get your chippers up. Building bigger figures up. Yeah, I know this shit is nuts. What we gotta do for bucks, more than just this rapping stuff. Push a hard line until your motherfucking time is up. Come on.
Trying to put this West Coast thing back on the map. Northern Cali's where I'm starting because this where it's at. Trying to put this West Coast thing back on the map. Northern Cali's where I'm starting because this where it's at.
One foul associate, then you crude and your shit crumbles. We fold stacks and all I wanna do is get bundles. I'm sticking and moving like the great Cassius Clay. I need 8-figure stacks I can cash for pay. It's deeper than rap. Most niggas just rap for paper. I'm hot. Been on fire since gazelles and curl activators. OCs is so easy, Lee could be one of the greatest. When we through with this rap shit, you're now one of the most underrated. But I'll take it black, flip and make cake with that. Be dreaming about paper stacks, waking up still broke. On Sonoma steel pole, make you wanna cock back, make you wanna kill folks. I be killing ill beats, rolling up Swisher Sweets. Call me Osai, call me Mr. Money off the streets. None can compete, coming phony a week. And that purple sticky shit be the only I cheat.
We trying to put this West Coast thing back on the map. Northern Cali's where I'm starting because this where it's at. Trying to put this West Coast thing back on the map. Northern Cali's where I'm starting because this where it's at.
Laying my raps just like a pimp who checking his trap, sending the bitch out, bringing that paper back. Making stacks, rolling around like Goldie in the 7 deuce slack. Tagged out, OG Kush brought your boy back. Northern Cali got a lot of heat, and that's a fact. Niggas be busting, you hear that clip busting out the strap. I heat a nigga eating off what he laid down on the track. The yay cross the Carquinus, it's another land. Flying in like I'm on the mothership at a brother land. Replenished with good, I put in the hood, never brag about it, but at the spitting shit, yo, I'm the man. Even if I'm never seen on MTV or BET, I can still take over and captivate a crowd easily. And we broadcasting live from the cell. This is Osai, I'm the mixtape man. We trying to
put this West Coast thing back on the map. Northern Cali's where I'm starting because this where it's at. Trying to put this West Coast thing back on the map. Northern Cali's where I'm starting because this where it's at.
The root of all evil gets something dangerously stuck in. So sick and evil, try to place myself under a cross in the sleeper while the dough flowing faster than some dope in a needle. We all know it's wrong, but it feels so right. They some the consequences that come with this life. My grandmother say she pray for me every night. Just to play a safe, I low 16 in my 9. Pray for me. I'm out here doing bad for the good of my family. Can't you understand? Bag full of snow in the middle of August. Track full of O's watching out for the coppers. I left church in my Sunday polo. Call my connect, make sure you ready to go. It's like I'm shooting dice, gambling with life. I'm trying to win, been gambling all night. Pray for me, I'm out here doing bad for the good of my family. But can't you understand? Pray for me, I'm living life fast. Scale full of grams, chopper full of gas. Pray for me, I'm out here doing bad for the good of my family. But can't you understand? Pray for me, I'm living life fast. Scale full of grams, chopper full of gas.
Hell Mary, watch over me, I'm stuck in these streets. I play for keeps, I know I'm getting over on me. Put some nigga back before I put a slug in your ovaries. It's in my blood to duck. Carry pistols and push drugs. Right now, weed and stuff blunts. My niggas doing biz, 25 to life. They ain't gonna see that kid. So for them, I rock with 2 chops and 2 clips. Hopping out the whip, drop down the clap and snitch. Hell Mary, watch over my dudes buried in the cemetery. So many souls lost, trying to get across. Couldn't pay the cost, loyalty above all loss. But so many suckers love to flap their jaws. When the boys them drop they jaws. Hard on the street, but in jail they soft. Mom and pop pray I see better days. Forgive me for my sins, my nigga, I'm in it to win. Fucking with sauce and that nigga swim.
Pray for me, I'm out here doing bad for the good of my family. But can't you understand? Pray for me, I'm living life fast. Scale full of grams, chopper full of gas. Pray for me, I'm out here doing bad for the good of my family. But can't you understand? Pray for me, I'm living life fast. Scale full of grams.
Life, no shame, married to the game with the scores and strikes, with scores and strikes. Been to hell and back twice. I'm a thug, can't give up, must stand and fight, but all my life feel like much I sacrifice, but it's alright. No practice, I roll the dice. Everything gonna be okay to myself. I say to the Lord, I pray, grinding every day. Like Luke would say, yep, till he got paid. Young guns, young Sam gotta pay the way. Some house, some single predation.
What's up, y'all? This your boy DJ Rowe. You listening to Anna's Historical Podcast Radio. We got some hits going on. This is Us Smokes. You know, listen to some Thug Nasty, some Osai. We're gonna keep this going for about at least another 5 minutes. So let's do it. Let's keep it going. DJ Rowe.
Anything else, it really doesn't matter to me. Sunny bananas, true soldier until I'm buried. Not too cautious,
nothing, you know. Are you there somewhere?
Rap OJ.
Yeah.
Anna? There you are.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I've been dropping shit since the turn of the century. Bitches lay on underground shit. They better mention me. I drop a motherfucking hit and then I hit the tree.
Start in a couple minutes.
Like dope boys flipping dick. It's digital scales. It used to be the triple beams. Like it's digital sales. You get your chippers off the strings. It's an amazement all the shit that I seen and rap.
It's a green screen behind me.
Microphone fame. On this music doing my thing. Spit it clean. Won't
Can you
stop.
hear me
Fuck with
okay?
niggas who fucking
Yeah.
trap. With niggas who fuck with pop. 2007 and 8.
Can you hear me now?
My block on lock. Niggas bumping me in they trunks. And the
Okay.
shit don't stop. Had a
Just making
classic
sure it was the right
99,
mic.
but that shit ain't drop. My CEO had hella bricks and he got popped by the cops. 19 years
still hear
later,
me?
13 joints deep. A nigga
Yeah,
never
wait, we
heard
can
my
hear
shit.
you.
I tell
We're
a
just
nigga
not really
to
starting the
beat.
show quite yet.
Drop an album,
No, I was
stack on
doing the
me.
mic
I've been
check.
doing this for a long
Make
time.
sure
Lil
I hit the
Rap
right.
OG, and I don't care what the track gon' be. I hop on it and not complain. Lil Rap OG, no matter where I'm
Okay,
at, I'm
does this sound any better?
City, city by the water. Lil Rap OG, I've been underground for a while, still ill with my style now. Lil Rap OG. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Okay, yeah. I'm at a devil. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Okay. Devil. I done been your shit. Devil. I'm at a devil. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Okay. Devil. I done been your shit. Devil. I'm at a devil. Here you go. Here you go, here you go. Okay. Devil, I done been your shit. Devil, I'm about to devil, I'm about to double dip. The beast man is gone and drip. I'm running my whip. Getting head of my ship. Two chicks switching up on my shit. Man, it's double trips. I'm double dip. Like a furrow.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? This your boy DJ Rowe.
What's
Anna
up,
is
everybody?
ready to go. What's going
Yeah,
on, Anna?
What's going on, Roselle? Good to see you.
Oh, same here.
Our guest, yeah, we got a guest here. I am just getting my live going. Wayne, I'll tag you because we're on Facebook Live too.
Okay.
And YouTube. So yeah. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to our Wayne. So I keep telling you're our first repeat guest.
Yay!
Yes. Other
I've
than
lived long enough to
other
be on your show twice.
yes,
Really?
yeah, we got. You've been on my show twice.
You said I'm your first repeat guest.
Yeah, you were on the show, and you've been on. Yeah, this is.
Yes, I'm on it twice.
Okay.
This is time number two.
You're just ahead of me.
Right,
man.
Ro? You were there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember.
Hold on a second. I've got to let some cats out.
Oh no.
Hey Wayne, this is a cat-friendly show. They're allowed to be on the show. Anna's
That would have been fine, but they wanted out, and it's just.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
Anna's cats need some followers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, one of them has his own Facebook page, so.
Oh my God, I'm not that bad. Okay, come on. Here we go. Yeah, so now we're doing it on Zoom, which is really cool. It means we're able to have a lot more guests.
But your place is so cozy.
Yeah.
And it was nice being with people.
Yeah, it is really nice. And, it's just nice being with people entirely. So, okay, so
That's like you and I ran into each other this past weekend at the bookstore, at the Alibi bookstore on Marin Street in Vallejo.
Yeah, Alibi Books, which is a very cool place. And we can, okay, I just tagged you on my Facebook page, on the Facebook Live. So how many books do you have there?
My goodness. Well, this is my
wow.
Since you asked, I always have it sitting nearby just in case I have to hold up a book, but here's all of them.
Wow. I have a good selection of them, actually.
Well, yeah, I think you have at
Yeah.
least 2 of them.
I think I have 3. Yeah. I have
That's at least
I have the Bayard Taylor one, and I have the Princess one, and I have one other.
That would be Tim Tam.
No, I don't think I have that.
Well, I gave one to give to your nephew or niece or something.
Oh, okay. My nephew and niece have it. So, okay, audience. This is Wayne Goodman, who is an author and a promoter, producer, publisher. What would you consider yourself?
Host.
Okay.
Of a podcast called Queer Words.
Called Queer Words, yes.
Conversations with queer identified authors about their works and lives.
Yeah. And so that's been going on for a while, right?
2.5 years.
Wow.
I think I started it after I saw you last time. Because I don't think I had started. I started in October 2018. And I can't remember when we sat down together last time.
Oh, no, you've had it for a while. I think you've had it because I met you at a reading you organized at the bookstore.
Oh, sure.
Not the bookstore, at the library.
Oh, okay. Yes, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
But the podcast has only been around since October 2018.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, huh? Podcasting. That's about, we've been around since 2017.
Oh, okay.
Can you believe it?
I think I probably was on early 2018.
I think so. Yeah. Roselle knows more. I spent like cumulatively more time talking with Roselle than anyone, I think, other than my father, who I'm very close to.
Well, Roselle's a very interesting person.
Yes, he is. Very, very much so. So what have you been working on lately, Wayne?
Well, the podcast mostly. It keeps me very busy. I release at least 1 episode per week. Tuesday is the new podcast day. And then on Fridays, I've started releasing replays, or as I call them, revisited.
Yeah.
So through the month of April, which was National Poetry Month, I went back and selected several of my previous guests and launched their podcasts again on Fridays.
That's kind of like what we're doing. That's why we invited you on. See, I just made that.
Well, no, there's a difference. I'm on with you live for the second time.
I know, but this
the
is like
Friday
our
podcast. I just pull up the old file and stick it online and call it revisited.
Well, it's good too, because I mean, I listen to podcasts a lot, but I'll realize that I just was doing something and I missed a couple minutes. So it's good.
The main reason for me doing that has to do with the Library of Congress. I had wanted to have the podcast series archived somewhere. So my first choice was the Gay Lesbian Historical Society in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I know the fellow who runs it. I've known him for many years.
Yeah.
And I approached him. I said, I've got this podcast and it chronicles queer identified authors' lives. Would you be able to archive it? And he said, no, we don't do digital. We only do paper.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I went to the Hormel Center, which is the LGBTQIAA plus. They've expanded their alphabet center at the San Francisco Public Library. And I know the librarian there because I donate a copy of all of my books to the San Francisco Public Library. And she said, we don't do digital. We only do paper archives. So I thought, And then I read an article that the Library of Congress had started an LGBTQ plus archives, digital archives. And I wrote to them and I said, I do this. And they wrote back and they said, this is great. We would love to archive you. And I go, yay!
That is so cool.
They didn't start for a year after. And what they've done is they started culling is actually the verb, the podcasts from a year before. And they started February 2021. So they started with the podcasts from February 2020, which means all of the people who were on the podcast before that date are not included. So that's why I'm doing these revisited episodes every so often, so they'll get picked up in the future. So some of the earlier people will also be in the Library of Congress.
That is interesting. Wow. I mean, I'm a archivist somewhat, and I was explaining to somebody today about the other day a gentleman in the community because who's a photographer, and I offered to archive his his negatives, and I was just explaining, like, if you donate this someplace, it's gonna sit there forever and nobody will do anything because there's no money. So if you want stuff, because there's archives and then there's like your information, like I believe that like your podcast, it's recorded. I mean, if people want to find somebody, they know that they're there. But the problem with a whole lot of archival materials that nobody even knows what's there. So, but when I talk about archiving, I know that there's a lot going on with digital archiving, which I'm just not as up with.
Well, all of the podcasts are available at the website, which is www.queerwords.org. And you could see all of the 150 episodes that I've done. However, my fear is that technology will change over time, and what I've uploaded might not be accessible anymore. So that's why I wanted it archived somewhere.
Yeah.
However, it's also available just about anywhere you find podcasts. It's been picked up by every podcast rebroadcaster. I don't know what the right term is. I mean, it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Heart Radio. I can't remember. There's over 25 sites that carry it. The one thing is, though, when you go through a podcast app, you don't see the pictures of the authors. Now, if you don't go to the website, I think the second best place is on Instagram, and it's at Queer Words Podcast.
Okay, Wayne, I want you to. I want to make sure I'm getting this. I'm getting this down because I'm putting the information in the comments.
Okay.
So it's queerwords.com.
No, it's queerwords.org.
Okay.
That's the website.
You have like so much going on that like I want to make sure I get this information down before. Hey Scott, because we've got one of our regulars on there. Hey Scott, when are you going to come on the show?
Hey, what's going on, Scott?
Okay, queerwords.org.
But Instagram is also a good place, and that's at Queer Words Podcast.
Okay, on Instagram.
And it's like a menu. You look at the page and there's just columns and columns of faces, and you just pick a face you like and you get to hear their podcast. Well, actually, it takes you to the page. It has a link to the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, I mean, it's so important because you're pressing it, trying to figure out if we need to preserve stuff, but I mean, who even knows what medium there's going to be in a couple of years? So
yeah. So I mean, I'm trying to preserve what we've done. We were here, we did this. I want people in the future to know what our culture has accomplished in time.
Yeah.
And that's been my project for the last 2.5 years. And it's been great. I've gotten to meet people I would have never had a chance to meet before. And it's also very frustrating because these people live in other countries or far away, and we hit it off, and we would be friends if we lived down the street. So, but thankfully with the internet, the ability to reach out, I've spoken to people in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, England, Scotland, Uzbekistan. The woman whose podcast is up today, Jennifer Stile, She lives in Tashkent, which is the capital of Uzbekistan. Although she's not Uzbeki, her husband is a foreign service person who works there, and so they live in Tashkent. Amazing woman. She once lived in Yemen, running a newspaper.
I followed Yemen pretty close.
So she's very, very forward-thinking person. And if you have a chance to listen to the podcast, I suggest you do, because
I will.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Where else? I can't think of it, but those are some of. France, Spain. So I've talked to people all over the world, and it's good. I like that.
The GLBT, the Historical Society is smart, because you have to just draw the line at something, I mean,
yes.
So yeah, they're smart. They're amazing. Yeah. You can become a member of the LGBT museum. That's
well, actually, they have it the G first. It's the GLBT.
I know.
They're the only organization I know of that's not LGBT.
Yeah. That's partially why. Come on, man. I'm like, how am I supposed to keep all those letters?
I know. There's lots of letters. That's why I went with queer.
Exactly.
It's one word. It never changes.
Exactly.
It's an umbrella term.
And can we please use queer? I mean, come on.
Well, not everybody's, it's funny, not everybody's comfortable with this. And this is part of the discussion.
But not everybody's going to be comfortable with anything.
Well, but part of the podcast is I say to people, this is Queer Words, and what qualifies you as queer. And we've had some intriguing discussions about the word queer. Some people are not there yet, because when they grew up, queer was a bad word. When people called them queer, it wasn't a good thing.
Yeah, but that generation's getting older. And I mean, queer has been in common use since like the 80s.
Well, it's like other cultures reclaim their negative words.
Yeah.
And I think this is one that we've reclaimed as our own. But one person really took me for a loop when she said, I have a problem with the word qualified.
What? Oh, God. She's not coming on this podcast.
You never know what you're going to get with people. So I have to keep an open mind and an open mic, and I listen to people. And like I said, it's been a wonderful education. I'd like to say it's a private masterclass with people who've been successful in their field, telling me their secrets, and then I share it with everybody else.
Like I used to run a queer reading and an open mic, Seattle Spit, that was based on Sister Spit, which also went through a lot of incarnations based on the language. And what did I said something like, LGBT, whatever, and then I like all are welcome. Just, I don't know, I want the identity, I want the queer identity to be there, but partially just, I don't know, as somebody that was left out a lot of stuff, I want everybody to be welcome, unless it's like, unless it's like totally like, okay, this is private or whatever, but.
Well, several of the people who've been through Sister Spit have episodes on my podcast. Juliana Delgado Lopera.
Yeah.
Is because I've known her for years. She's such a fabulous individual. And Baruch Porres Hernandez has been on the podcast as well.
None of them have been, I'm sure, because that went on for years and years.
Yeah, well, he was one of the only male members of Sister Spit. That was
male at the time. Well, shit, half of them are male now. Well, we're talking about transitioning.
Yes, in one way or another.
Yeah, but. It's interesting to try and do that. And I don't know, just as somebody who's, also like put on readings and similar stuff. That's one of the reasons I appreciate you so much, is because we both care a lot about representation and, diversity, trying to get voices out there.
Well, this started for me in 2015. My partner, Rick May, who's also an author.
Hi, Rick.
I don't know that he's watching. He's at his writing group tonight, so he's probably not watching.
Okay.
We were going to readings. Our friends had readings. We would go to bookshops. And we thought, this is not right. We need to have our own reading series. So we put together a proposition, and we worked with the Books Inc. Market Street store, or they called it Castro. And we started January 2016 with our Perfectly Queer reading series. We would have 3 or more authors in an independent bookstore with books. And we wanted to show that we could draw an audience for queer authors, and we could sell books in an independent bookstore. And we were very successful with that until Books Inc. decided to shut down that location because it had been losing money for years.
Yeah.
So they closed it in May of 2016. And a couple months later, we were lucky enough to find another home at Dog-Eared Books on Castro.
Oh, yeah.
And we had our reading series there for quite a while. And then it was in 2018, things started to slow down. And I said to Rick, I'd like to continue our work, but the in-store thing isn't working. How about let's do a podcast? And he said, no. He said, if you want to do it, you go do it. I said, okay. And I did. And I'm very happy. I started out with our friends, people who had been through our reading series, and through connections and other things, people started asking to be on the podcast, and it's been amazing. I have so many recorded episodes. I could get through the end of the year at this point without recording another episode. I'm so backlogged, but I'm always looking for new authors. If you're listening and you happen to be a queer identified author, or you know someone who is, and they have a published book.
Yes. Hey, everybody. Okay. Queer published books. Hey, world, you can contact me for Goodman.
Please, you could write to me, queerwords@gmail.com. Queerwords@gmail.com. Just write to me. I will get back to you, and your episode might not come out for a while, but I'm always interested in introducing the world to people who don't normally have a chance to have that voice.
It's such a great feeling. I mean,
I feel great. I've had the well-known and the not so well-known.
Yeah.
I'd like some more well-known people. So if you know some famous writers, work it out.
I think you and me probably know all the same famous writers, all the same famous queer writers.
Local ones, yeah.
Well, like some of the people that have gotten more dispersed, right? Like Anna Joyce Springer.
I don't know her.
Really? Oh my God, she's a fucking professor.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, now wait a minute. When you called her a fucking professor, do you mean she teaches sex ed?
No. No, she's like an English professor.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
What about a Juan Mance who teaches at Mills College?
No.
Well, she's a collaborator with me. These are her illustrations on Princess Aina.
Yeah.
And, the story is of a young girl who is from Africa, and a British sea captain brought her to England in 1850, where she went to live with the court of Queen Victoria and grew up with the royal children.
Yeah.
I was fascinated when I found out about her and did research. She's a real person. She really lived. We have letters, we have photographs, we have all this documented evidence. We know a lot about her. But what I didn't find was her story from her point of view. What was it like to be a young person ripped from your homeland, sent who knows where, and you live with a bunch of white people?
Yeah.
So I set out to write her story from what I read about her letters, had an idea of her style. And Awan helped me out with that, with cultural sensitivity. Since I am neither African nor girl, Awan was able to help me out with some of the cultural aspects of the book.
Yeah.
Plus the wonderful illustrations. And when I thought about an illustrator, Awan was the only person I considered. I would have never considered anyone else for the book. So I was very lucky that Awan was willing to work on this with me.
Very cool. Oh, actually, I just found, hey, Wayne, I'm doing a comic book about Bayard Rustin, and I found an illustration. So I'll have a book, man. I can come on here.
Hey.
But I talked to a lot of different people, and one of the people, this was sewn. I'd written to Keith Knight, who's real famous, and he posted it. somebody had told me about him. I contacted him on Facebook. So he posted it publicly. So then I got a lot more people contacting me. And the person I'm going to be working with now, you know, like we talked about, he looked up Bayard and he was talking with me about how he thought Bayard just had such an interesting look. And he was talking about movement and like ways to convey character, and I was like, oh good, because I wanted the artist needs to be taking on the story. They need to connect to it themselves on some level. I don't want to just be saying, oh, draw this, you know.
Yeah,
so
that sounds great.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be very cool. You know, I mean, you know, a lot of people I know are like on their 10th book by now. I know a lot of like fucking of extremely brilliant people. When I was moving from Seattle, I got rid of all of my books except for books by people I knew, and I had a pretty big suitcase. So yeah.
Yes, we have a collection of autographed books from the authors that we had at the reading series.
Mm-hmm.
So always buy a copy and have them sign it for us.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that was the problem with my, because I was buying your audience, I was buying Wayne's book for my niece and nephew, but it was COVID, so I couldn't get it signed to send to them. But yeah, next time you do a kid's book.
I've been vaccinated, so it's okay.
Cool. Well, now, yeah, vaxxed. Oh, it's so nice. I went to a gathering on Sunday, like a vegan food in a basement in a, you know, public kitchen place. So it's so nice to be like hanging out and like eating with people. Yeah. And just so far as socializing, just letting everybody know that Solano AIDS Coalition is having a Cinco de Mayo celebration this Saturday in downtown Vallejo, and Mario was a guest last week here. So, you know, even when we're able to do stuff again, we're going to keep this show on Zoom because we've just been able to have so many more people on.
Well, this is what we found with the Perfectly Queer reading series. We moved to online since we couldn't have it in the bookstores anymore. And it's widened our audience because people can attend from anywhere. They don't have to get dressed up. And we can have our readers be anywhere because they don't have to come to San Francisco. The one downside, book sales. We can't sell books, although we put the links to.
You can't, or people can't buy them?
Well, we used to do it in person. We can't do the in-person thing anymore. So we put links for the Dog-Eared Books Castro store in the chat so people can click on the link and buy the books online.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like, I was trying to figure that out. I did the Bayard Rustin Symposium on Zoom because I just had to, and I was thinking about doing another event on Zoom. Just like, no, I'm just gonna wait. But
as an example,
trying to figure out payments trying to figure out like, okay, if you put it in the chat. So yeah, go ahead.
As an example, last night we had a Perfectly Queer event. Arisa White, who is from the Bay Area. Well, she lived in the Bay Area at one point. She's originally from Brooklyn, but she lived here for quite a while. Now she's teaching at a college in Maine. And we had an evening of her and a couple of invited guests, one of whom was MK Chavez, and another was Vicky Bertis.
Yeah.
And so it was an evening of poetry and it was wonderful. And because Arisa is in Maine, she could join us, although she was 3 hours behind. It was 10 o'clock at her time when we started.
Yeah.
But having the online meetings and events allows us to have people from different areas, and we're not restricted to physical space.
Yeah, which is really cool. You know, especially like, look, you know, we're in Vallejo. Vallejo is full of fascinating people, but yeah, that means that we have another one of our podcast family here, Trika, who does not live in Vallejo. So
What's going on, Trika?
yes, Trika does know better, do better, which I believe is tomorrow night with DJ Rowe, who also does Duck Soup on Saturday night. The week before last, we had like everybody from all the podcasts come on this show, man. It was a
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
It was crazy. It was crazy, but you know, we wanted to just do some processing. But I just got to get back. So I went to the Library of Congress. You were at that presentation to research Bayard Rustin's archives, and I'm excited for you to have your stuff there. I mean, when I first, you know, because I had learned about the Library of Congress when I was a kid, but I didn't know you could just go there. So I think that's awesome.
It's a beautiful reading room. I've never been there, but I've seen photographs of it.
Yeah, it's really cool. So that is really one of the things that you know, preserving things. And you know, I mean, shoot, what do you must have a ton. I mean, not to be too morbid, but you know, you're gonna have to leave your stuff to the GLBT Museum.
Well, as I said, a copy of every book goes to both the JFK Library here in Vallejo and the San Francisco Main Public Library, plus the Library of Congress. I register all of my works with the Library of Congress, and they have a copy.
Yeah, cool. Very, very cool. So you have queer words going on. So another thing Wayne was doing recently, people, was vaccinating people.
Well, I helped with the vaccinations, I should say.
Yeah.
I did the tough work. I let the younger folks do the actual injections.
Okay.
I've done enough injections to last your lifetime.
Right.
I'm an RN, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
So what I was doing was the paperwork, the filling out the forms. That's the tough work. That's what I used to do before I stopped working. I was a case manager. So filling out forms is second nature to me.
Yeah.
So I had to fill out the little cards and put stickers on them and make sure everything was correct and the I's were dotted and the T's crossed and everything. So that's what I did.
Okay, so switching on. See, I know Wayne is also a member of the grand jury.
Well, not currently. Thank you.
Not currently.
I have been in the past. I have served 5 terms over the last 10 years or so.
Can you tell us about that?
Sure. It all started in 2007 here. There was a mayoral race between a couple of fellows. I will not mention names. And one of them was presumed the winner. And the other person challenged it and paid for a recount. And mysteriously, the challenger squeaked out a victory by, I think, 1 vote. There was a lot of rumors, let's just say, about the counting process, who was present when the votes were being counted, how they were handled. And it very much upset me because the candidate that I had supported did not get the office to which he was elected. And I wanted to do something with this anger. And the next week, I saw an ad in the paper that the grand jury was looking for members. And I thought, there we go. So I applied, and starting in 2008, I became a member of the Solano County Civil Grand Jury. Every county in California has a civil grand jury that serves for a year. It's not a criminal grand jury. Criminal grand juries are only put together for specific cases.
For specific cases, yes.
Civil grand juries look at the workings of the county. Is the money being spent properly? Is everything being taken care of? Are people getting the services that are required? Are the office holders performing the duties to which they've been elected? People have called it a watchdog agency, ombudsman. They have lots of lovely terms for it. So I've served 5 terms, twice as the 4-person and twice as the 4-person pro tem. And I've applied for next term because you can only serve 2 consecutive terms, and then you have to be off for a year. So I had served 2 terms 2018, 2019, 2019, 20. And now I'm off a year. And so maybe if I'm lucky, I might get back on in 2021. Oh, this is 21 this year. The term starts on July 1. So they'll be doing the selecting over the next few months.
See, that's real. I consider stuff like that real public service, because doesn't it get really, I mean, okay, like obviously it's no money, but doesn't it get pretty boring?
Well, there's no pay.
No pay, yeah.
But we get a stipend, the same as any
stipend isn't money.
Whatever the per diem is, I think it's $25.
That just means you don't lose money.
Yes, that's correct. Well, we do get mileage reimbursement.
Yeah.
Whatever the federal reimbursement is, we get that. We drive.
And that's just fair. That's just fairness. That's not making money.
So it's a volunteer position, but there are some retributions that you get, or reparation, or whatever you want to call it.
Perks?
You get a stipend and you get mileage. So there's that.
That's not a perk. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful. You get to meet all kinds of people. Actually, it came in handy when I wanted to volunteer to do the vaccinations. I wrote directly to the head of the Department of Health and Social Services because I know him. I've worked with him for years.
Yeah.
And I just wrote directly to him. I said, I'd like to volunteer. He says, that's great. Talk to this person. So he put me he headed me in the right direction to get qualified to go out and do this. So you get to meet some people, and there are a couple of wonderful, wonderful people here in the county, in the public service, who do a great job. And of course, all the members of the jury that I've served with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just cool. It's the sort of thing that really takes, but it just, it takes time. It's not like, it takes time, it takes attention. And so.
Yeah. But it's great for a writer. We look at situations. We decide what we're going to investigate. And then we do on-site investigations. We bring people in for interviews. Then we write reports. And, it's like writing a short story. With 19 people.
So if you don't like if somebody has a problem, doesn't like how an agency is running, they can write the grand jury and request them to look at it?
Anyone can write to the grand jury. They don't even have to be a resident of Solano County. There are forms online. If you go to the grand jury's website, you can just do a search for Solano Grand Jury and it'll take you to the website. There's a link for a complaint form, and you can print it out and fill it out and send it in. You can't do this online. It has to be a paper form.
Yeah.
And the grand jury looks at every complaint form that comes in. This is one thing I can tell you. We look at every complaint form and decide each thing on its merit. Is it something we can look at? Because sometimes people will say, I don't like my neighbor. Can't do that. We can only look into businesses that have some kind of a contract with the county, or somebody who works for the county. There are times when people will ask about legal things. And if something has gone to court or somebody has legal representation, generally we can't do that either. So we do get some interesting requests and some complaints, but it's definitely a wonderful learning experience. And I think the biggest learning experience is how to get along with others, because you're with 18 other people who all have degrees or licenses or badges or have served wonderfully in their lives, and they know how to do it and you're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. So being in charge of a group of people who are exemplary, that everybody thinks they know how to do it right, can be a little, I have to call on my diplomacy skills to
well, yeah, I mean, weren't you a psych nurse?
Yes.
I mean, that's some people.
Yes,
that's some people skills.
It definitely is. Yes.
I was
learning
trying
how
to
to diffuse things.
Yes. I was trying to help some people out. There's a family in Vallejo, and there was an article in the paper about them trying to get permits, trying to get clearance from the city to adapt their home for their son who's in a wheelchair so he can have more access. So I was, writing like some of the city council people, and I got a letter back from Mayor what's his name saying like, oh well, we can't, it's against the rules for council people to talk to staff. And I'm like, oh come on, like nobody is asking you to do, she's not asking for anybody to break the rules or something. This is just trying to figure out what's up, with something like this, you'll have different people in different departments trying to figure stuff out. So I mentioned it at Solano Pride cocktail party and got a bunch of great suggestions that I sent to her to try Bill Dodd and Monica and somebody else, and I got help with a personal issue from Thompson. So that's
okay. Because you're talking about Monica Brown. She's my supervisor because I live in South Vallejo. So if this person doesn't live in South Vallejo, I don't know that there's much she can do.
That was what they. Well, yeah, I didn't know. So, that was, and I said like, contact her or Aaron Hannigan, whoever the point was to contact your supervisor. Cause I'm not sure exactly. Or I said, or Bill Dodd or somebody, but it was an example of people need help with stuff.
Right. But the issue you're talking about really is a city issue. And I don't know that county supervisors or state representatives are in a position to help.
But the point is that we don't know. And so the point is to ask because we don't know.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yes. That's always ask, unless you.
Never hurts to ask.
Well, exactly. And, that's kind of like, no, we don't know. And especially with, it was just, I tried to like offer, what support I could, but, it just sucked. It was like, it was just, a young man that's a quadriplegic and they want to adapt, easement or something or other like that. None of the neighbors have a problem with it. And, so hopefully they'll get through that because to me, that's the sort of like, that's a big quality of life thing.
Yeah. I hope they find the right person
exactly
approach to get the permits. There's got to be a person out there because other people have done it.
Yeah. And, and just trying to get, to get stuff together. The lady she worked for an insurance agency. So I was like, so that would be nothing new, just that whole thing. You'll have like a bunch of people with different roles and tasks trying to like get all that stuff together. So but I don't know, that's just another big interest of mine. Also, one of the things I did for the Bayard Rustin Symposium was to have a section on the history and culture of Black ASL because I'm interested in the politics of ASL. So this past year, I was advocating to have some of the local town halls and to have the candidate forums ASL interpreted because I think it's a political right. So so I wanted to incorporate that into the Bayard Rustin Symposium because I think it's a civil right. Yes.
So 3 semesters of sign language in college.
Yeah. I remember.
I'm not up to the skill level of doing real-time interpretation.
Oh no, and that's I
can hold my own in a conversation, but that's
which is awesome.
Actually, well, when I was at the fairgrounds a couple of weeks ago, an old friend of mine came in who's deaf, and people were very impressed that I was having a conversation with a deaf person.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Like I've been to the deaf church, and so I would learn a few little things. But
I'm afraid to ask what you learned there.
What? No, I showed you. I was like, you know what that is, right?
You ate your cat?
Oh, I said I have 3. Wait, I have 3 cats.
Oh, well, I got the cat.
This is 3.
Yes. Correct.
And then I don't know. Come on, pointing. No, this is cat.
Yes, I know, but Anna, I'm just having fun with you.
Okay. Come on, man. Don't take away my little
You ate your cat.
Yeah, they were delicious. Yeah, that's one of the theory, before it was before my cat could eat me. They've been, I don't want to jinx it. They've been pretty quiet and cooperative. Yeah, but well, so that was one of the things I understand more now. I was reading about a town, one of the towns where everybody speaks sign, how towns like develop their own sign languages by a linguist and named Margaret Fox. And she also wrote a book about the discovery how Linear B was deciphered. It like hurts my head to read about it. But anyway, she was explaining about like the movement and whole, like how grammar and punctuation or anything works in sign language.
Well, if you're interested in indecipherable languages, I have a book about that. It has a compendium of all of the languages they've never been able to decipher, which includes Linear A.
Linear A, yeah.
And a couple other ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And then, yeah, it's called The Discovery of Linear B. And it was about, the most interesting part was a woman that did almost everything and then died like age 40 something because she could never get a grant or anything, and so she had to teach at the same time. And so then how it always, then somebody came along, like it was almost figured out, so of course the person that does like the last few steps gets the credit.
Yeah. Now before it goes too long, I want to point out you're wearing a Vallejo Famous shirt.
Yeah.
And I think we were all really proud a couple of weeks ago when HER won the Oscar for Best Song. It was a wonderful moment for me. I've never met her, or at least I don't know that I have. But knowing that someone from our town has made it to that, well, of course, there's Jeff Gordon and CeCe Sabathia. And so now another person has reached national fame for talent.
Yeah,
we have so many talented people here.
And she's also, I heard of her recently when I was watching it, and she's not just, she plays instruments, she plays the guitar, she plays drums, I think she plays piano. Just the way she carries herself, it's like she's she's like young and she's sexy, but she's not like totally, she's sexy the way like talented young women are. She just carries herself with a lot of dignity and grace. So yeah, I would just be real happy to, she can, it means when somebody can really play an instrument and really sing, and it's not all just like piped in.
Look at Don Bassi as an example, who's been around for a long time. He also has been running the Empress Theater Entertainment. Mm-hmm. He has a band he's had for a long time. Another person that I've known who plays an instrument and sings and has entertained.
Yeah, but she's like she's a gorgeous young woman, and I'm sort of referring so far as like role models, and for people, for anybody, for the young people in Vallejo, young people look at musicians, I like people
E40.
seeing a girl that can like pick up her fucking guitar and has control over more control over what she's doing. But yeah, oh my God, she's so talented. But Vallejo Famous is a brand by our good friend who visits here, Lamont Uwe Jones II. And Lamont's son, 15-year-old son, Lamont III, has been hospitalized with heart and kidney issues. And so they've been everybody, we're just sending out major love and prayers to Lamont. So yeah, this is his brand. That's when Vallejo Famous. So yeah, he's lovely. He was one of the first. We started having him on, and it was just like out of the blue. It's just cool when you somebody that you don't even know was like, sure, I'll come on your show. So, but yes, her is amazing. Congratulations. I'd love to meet her.
Yeah, speaking of somebody you don't know, I was very lucky to get Robert Jones Jr. for my podcast. And he has a blog called Son of Baldwin.
Oh, him. Yeah. Yeah. I know him.
And
I mean, I
he
know
has
his
a
work.
book
Yeah.
that was nominated for the Lammy Awards this year.
Yeah.
And I wrote to a lot of nominees, and he was one of them. And luckily, they got back to me. And I had the wonderful honor of sitting and having a conversation with him.
I got to read that book. Yeah, that's on my list.
Wow.
What? You've read it already, haven't you?
No.
Oh, is it not out yet?
I don't know. In all honesty, I do not read the books of the people on the podcast.
Really?
It's not that kind of podcast. I'm not doing book reviews.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It is more about the person
Okay.
who is an author.
Okay,
Talk
interesting.
about their lives.
Yeah.
And they happen to be an author.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, we might talk about the book a little bit, but I don't want to do book reviews. There are other people doing that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do
Interesting.
that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. There's somebody else who I follow, Hari something, who I follow on Twitter, who's Hari Gia, something like that. I'll send you their information because they have I think just another people there's people I follow on certain people I follow on Twitter. I mean, I don't tweet. I follow interesting people to keep up. I that's where I keep up on history and like race politics.
And I do have a Twitter feed, although it's just announcement that here's the person today.
Yes. Yeah.
There's not a lot of information on the Twitter feed.
Yeah,
it's the Instagram and Facebook page that have the most. Well, and the Instagram, Facebook, and the website have the most information.
Yeah, we have an actual author coming on here soon. And yeah, see, I'm different. I heard her on somebody else's podcast and invited her on, but now I decided to wait until I read her book to have her on.
Well, yeah, you have a different format.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, it's I'm trying to create a moment in time that people can look back and listen to who this person is.
Yeah.
And I feel if I focus too much on the book, we'll miss the person. So I ask personal questions about their sexuality, their lives, how they write, how queerness impacts their writing, how they write.
Very cool.
How are they involved in the community? How do they use social media?
So guys, so like in a week or two, we're gonna have Keisha Kania. The book's called Memoirs from a Daughter of Crackheads, From Childhood Trauma to Spiritual Triumph. So she'll be on in a couple.
Wow, that sounds like a difficult road.
Yes. Yeah.
I used to work with people in that, like that, when I was in San Francisco as a psychiatric nurse.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, that was, I heard her on a podcast. And so, we just, especially, I mean, we're every week now, we're for 2 hours. I just really try and bring on people that have something to say. So I like pretty much poach people from other podcasts, like, oh, hey, here, it seems like you like to be out talking. So, okay, we're about to take a break and wind up. So Wayne, I know you've been like plugging right and left. Do you want to like close out? Everybody, this has been Wayne Goodman, the host of the Queer Words podcasts. Do you have anything coming up to announce?
Not yet. No, just the podcast.
Okay,
I'm part of a writers group called Benicia Outcast Writers Group. And we meet once a week. So I'm working on a book, but it's too early to talk about it. But thank you for asking.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Roselle, you ready to do some music?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you, Roselle.
Thank you. And thank you.
Right on, Wayne, man. It's always a pleasure when you're on the show, my man.
Always.
Thank you.
We protect game, don't follow those. Move them numbers on that El Chapo. We don't stop, no. Count it up. Never listen to a lane. How that sound to us? We protect game, don't follow those. Move them numbers.
Are we off now?
On that El Chapo.
Yeah, we're on a break.
Yeah. Oh, are we coming back? Or am I gone?
No, it's been a pleasure, but I want to get to some other stuff.
Okay. All right. Hey, thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure. All right. See you at the bookstore.
AP on my wrist, yeah, I'm acting up. Yeah, I heard niggas mad, stop acting tough. El Chapo, I send a nigga up. Midnight, broad day, I don't give a fuck. Blessed. Yes, I'm feeling blessed. Look at my wrist and my neck. I kill me a nigga and die of respect. You talk about gas, but you not a threat. 762s turn you to a mess. I'm trying to run up this check, and these niggas mad I took off like a jet. I did it all for the fam. You niggas know who I am. ACD bitches the clan. I'm trying to get to these bands. Niggas gon' hate, but they really some fans. Got a gun, but I heard you a runner. Hella broke, damn that's a bummer. Ape City, he been hitting numbers. And this shit gon' turn up the summer.
We protect game, don't follow those. Move them numbers on that El Chapo. We don't stop, no. Count it up. Never listen to a lane. How that sound to us?
Who taught you, please? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man?
They'll never treat me like a white man unless a nigga play sports or hit the right dance. That's why the sour in my right hand. On stage in the club, rocking with no hype man. Muhammad fought his way to greatness. That nigga Jackie rhymed his way to greatness. Entertainment, same as slaving, so luck I made it first show. Pass 1 minute, ho. Oh my goodness gracious, oh shit. Riding down the scrub, hear my mama whip. Old chick, licking on my till. Yeah, bro, I'm a pimp. Years later, same player in the game, winning down. Get it till you get it, cause I get it. That one I'm content with. She doping women, she doping women. I'm content with she doping women, she doping women. Listen, nigga, I came from a plate where them niggas shade. Nothing else but cheese doping women. And them niggas straight. Shit just give me cheese doping women, cheese doping women. Shit just give me cheese doping women, cheese doping women. Listen, nigga, I came from a plate where them niggas shade. Nothing else but cheese doping women. And them niggas straight. Shit just give me 50 grand bag of that sour, 50 grand bag of that diesel, 50 grand bag of that Keisha. Sprinkle Molly in and make a yum shit eager. All I need is a bubble butt, double cup of D's. Let my brother here, cousin. Ain't no jealousy, man. I open up my closet when it's time to make deposits. Take my shirt off of my vault, then I unlock it. I make profit every day. I smoke every day. I drink every day. I go every day. Let me stop or I get curved way. This that jet life. Just swipe. Goddamn nigga didn't need chat right. Just met her, but twice, and I messed that shit on Instagram. Don't you ask me shit if you don't benefit. In no word, mind your business, bitch. I'm about that. She doping women. She doping women. She doping women. She doping women. Listen, nigga. Nothing else but cheese doping women. And them niggas straight. Shit just give me cheese doping women. Cheese doping women. Shit just give me cheese doping women. Cheese doping women. Listen, nigga, I came from a plate where them niggas shade. Nothing else but cheese doping women. And them niggas straight. Shit just hit the.
She said she's gon' hit me in the late night. She said she's gon' hit me in the late night. She said she's gon' hit me in the late night. She said she's gon' hit me in the late night. She said she's gon' hit me in the late night. She said she's gon' hit me in the late night. She said she's gon' hit me in the late night. She said she's gon' hit me in the late night. She said she's gon' hit me in the late night.
Call me Mr. Late Night, Mr. AM. He'll work it out early morning, 12 a.m. She say she gone off that Patron.
FaceTime, got on a purple thong. Earlier that night she was front stage at my show. Now she in my telly room doing what it do. Ooh, yo girl nasty. Ooh, yo bae nasty. Bouncing it, clapping it in the RBRT. You ain't gotta worry though, I'm gonna take care of that. I'm gonna cherish that. Thought I saw a putty cat. Mastermind, I am that. Master brain, I got that. So mastermind, she is that. Master plan, I got that. RBR gon' get scratched. Thought I told you that. In the late night, I'm a pipe lay plumber that. Unclogged plunger that. I'm about to get into that. If I was a mechanic, yo hood, I'm under that.
Yo, everybody, we back. This is Anna's Historical Podcast Radio.
We're back. Yep. I'm signing back on Facebook. We just had a very good time with Wayne Goodman. God, that guy, he wrote an opera too. That guy's prolific.
Yeah, man, that dude's all over the place.
Yes, he is. Okay, hello, Facebook and YouTube. Scott, man, when's Scott, I want to meet you, man. When's he gonna come on the show?
Man, Scott, you got to come on the show, man. Anna's calling you out now. It's about that time, my man.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to him. He's going to come on the show. He'll come on.
Okay, cool. All right, what a week, man. So what were we talking about it just seems, it seems like time's going fast and slow. So yes, congratulations to her. That was like just this past week. Yes. Okay, The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, so how was your show? How you like it?
It was really good. They released the first 3 episodes, and then it goes to 1 episode a week, which I like because I'm old school. That's how it used to be. When I was a kid, you'd have to like wait for The Wizard of Oz to come on once a year. So, but yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'm there too. I'm part of that same clan.
Yeah.
It's like you can't even really watch shows like that no more because, like you said, it's hard now because they just keep coming and coming. Like you said, you'd watch one show on Wednesday, you'd have to wait till next Wednesday to see the show again.
Yeah.
The next part of it, and now it's just like it just shows every day, and sometimes it gets played out,
Yes. Hi, Sharon Ford. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for listening. Let me know if you ever want to come on the show. Okay, so we're going to get to some world news. We're following. So Alexei Navalny, the Russian opposition leader, was given medical treatment, and so he made. Oh, I know, Taylor. What you haven't been here in ages, man. Shit, come on the show, man. Shit, I'm sending you a link. I need somebody to talk about The Handmaid's Tale with.
Come on the show, my man.
Yes. I don't care if you're in your pajamas, Taylor. Nobody cares. And besides, we haven't done our Bewitched podcast in a long time. Yeah, and it's particularly irritating that they killed off the one black handmaid. The Handmaid's Tale has some big racial problems. I had to join a group just to talk about it. It's bad, man. I mean, it's like they want credit for supposedly okay, Taylor, whatever. it's like they want credit for supposedly having a diverse cast, but then they don't give the Black characters anything to say. So yeah, it's bullshit. And there's people that have stopped watching it because of that. So yeah.
Kristen's in the house. What's up, Kristen?
Kristen's in the house. Yeah, there sure is, Taylor. I mean, there really is. And I'm annoyed because now the people that survived were June and then Janine. So it's like, okay, the people that make it out alive need to be white with big blue eyes. They both have big blue eyes. It's hard to tell them apart. And so yeah, and she's she's a character that the other characters like take care of, and they've made her, I mean, all the characters are traumatized, but they've made it sort of cute with her. I mean, she's mentally ill, but they kind of bring her in for like comic relief. But it's still a good show, and I'm so glad. I mean, that show is my biggest temptation to get a nice TV, because it's just so beautifully filmed, but so that's when you're like looking at something going like, okay, I'm fantasizing what this would look like. It's not like this. I mean, I'd like to have a big TV, but I'll put one of these years I'll put the money into getting something with really good like distinction and stuff like that.
I thought you had a big TV. You don't have a big TV?
No.
Do you have a TV?
Yeah, I have a TV.
Okay. I thought for sure you had a big TV.
No, it's like a 40-inch, 30-inch or something, like, not small, like me, pretty average size. Like, yeah, I have like, second to cheapest for stuff like that. I don't get the cheapest. I get second to cheapest. That's my normal policy. What's up, Kristen? Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I had to go get my charger for my computer because it's getting ready to die.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good to see you. Yeah, I saw you listening. Yeah, we just had Wayne on, who was fabulous. That's why, like in the beginning, I was like, look, dude, slow down. If you want us to list any of your stuff, you have to. Yeah, he cracks me up.
I have to listen to because I missed the beginning. I didn't catch that your show had already started, so I missed the beginning and I didn't get to hear what he was talking about.
Well, he runs a podcast for LGBT. Yeah, and he organizes readings, and he's a writer. He's written a ton of books. He wrote a fucking opera. So
he organizes that here in Vallejo, like
when we were doing in person stuff, and so now he's organizing stuff like that on Zoom. So yeah, that's
I was just talking to someone at the park that was saying that they were hoping that there would be a bigger presence for the community, for them, and so I like to get his information so I could pass that on to my friend.
Yeah,
so.
Are they queer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you came in on that part. So we're following up on some news, but we're getting to some of my favorite stuff, which is mummies. Okay, so a team of Polish scientists say they have discovered the only known example of an embalmed pregnant Egyptian mummy. And
oh wow.
Yeah. So apparently they thought the mummy was a man because of the size, I guess, but then they did some sort of like tissue analysis, like X-ray something or other, and caught the little fetus. And it was weird because it almost looked like, the sonogram pictures that everybody had. It almost looked like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just normal. The discovery was made by researchers at the Warsaw Mummy Project and revealed in the Journey of Archaeological Science. they believe the mummy was at some point placed in the wrong coffin by antiquity dealers during the 19th century when looting and rewrapping of remains were not uncommon. That's nasty.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, so a pregnant mummy. That is a new one, but I swear they are still like finding new places for archaeological sites in Egypt. But okay, and then in England, contractors are planning to disinter, that means dig up, 3,000 bodies discovered in a churchyard in Buckinghamshire that lies in the path of the new high-speed rail link. This is where it's all, they're trying to like put in like high-speed rail, which we need. And then it turned out that it's going through a graveyard, but it's 900 years old. The last recorded internment was in 1908. So they're going to excavate it and then have a burial. But archaeological work on the site began in 2018, revealing well-preserved walls and structural features of the church. In October last year, unusual stone collars, medieval graffiti, and other markings had been found, with questions raised as to whether they were sundials or witching marks. I thought, see, when I saw graffiti, I thought that like, oh yeah, like it'd been vandalized, but medieval graffiti. So I'm gonna look that up because I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, so that was pretty.
Against, like,
pardon?
They're rebelling against whoever's ruling at that time, and they're just like,
Kristen, we can't hear you. Kristen,
no, I was saying that I would imagine that they're rebelling against whoever's ruling at the time. They're like, fuck that person,
Yeah. I think back then, I think the language they would have been speaking was like Old English or something back then. So however you say "fuck that person" in Old English,
not those exact words.
Yeah. And another thing I just learned about was there's going to be a statue to Mary Anning, who's a fossil hunter and paleontologist from the 19th century. And she was contributed, I remember once I saw the article, I remembered reading about it. She considered a significant female force in science. There was a crowdfunding campaign by a teenage girl who was 9 years old when she heard of her and did a crowdfunding to get a statue made of her, which is very cool. So, that is weird. Okay, this is the sort of thing that drives me crazy about history, because I'll think like, oh yeah, I want to send this to my niece. And I'm like, it's interesting. Why shouldn't my nephew be interested? And it just drives me crazy because history should be for everyone. And if it's history about a woman or a girl, like, yes, that should be interesting to everybody. Yeah, it's frustrating, because you're missing out. I mean, it broke my heart when I heard some kid saying that like Harry Potter was boys books. I'm like, what? I mean, when I was a kid, I read everything, and that's what it just sucks when interests get closed off like that, and if boys need to, because the whole point is for us to learn about important women, not off in some category no, this isn't like this isn't like off there, this is history. So yeah.
I'm sorry,
Kristen, we can't hear you.
No, I'm sorry, I need to make sure it's not my son that's banging on something.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, speaking of girls and boys, okay, the other thing, I was reading a lot this week about the same book I was reading. I was finishing last week about the Nigerian schoolgirl. So I was reading some more about them. I was reading the accounts of some of them, of what they did. And but so in Nigeria, the Nigerian military has dismissed a suggestion that it should take over the running of the country given the current security problems. So I'm like, well, so they're basically, somebody is suggesting that the military do a coup. And so the head of the military accused them, said that was treason. So, I mean, it's good. It's always nice when the military doesn't want to commit treason, but I mean, a third of that country has been decimated by Boko Haram. They just can't seem to get that under control. And I mean, like, how do you try and, because I mean, these people that do these bombings and stuff, they think they're going to heaven if they die. And so they're just so brainwashed. And how do you try and reason with somebody doesn't care if they die? It's real hard to make any headway with them. So, and it's just really sad because a lot of schools have been closed down because of Boko Haram. And I mean, I hate to say it, but they've been successful. And it just gratifies them, and it gratifies fanatics in other parts of the world to see that success. So I'm just pretty disheartened by it. So,
what can people do?
Kristen, you got to speak up.
I'm sorry.
Okay, just remember.
Maybe I need a microphone too. But
maybe you do, or just speak up.
Can you hear me?
You got to talk louder.
Louder?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Not that loud, but.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there you go, good.
Okay, I'll just bring okay.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, at some point you just think like, how can it be fit? Like, who can come in and fix it? How can they convince people to stop doing things like that? And it kind of like just, it's kind of like how do you work around something like that, where people are just really convinced that they believe that if they do this, that it's, it's the right thing to do, and that they're going to a better place than where they are now. Yeah. How do you convince someone that? I don't know what the solution for that is. I don't know, like, if anybody has that solution.
I was reading a book from the perspective of a woman that was one of the women that was kidnapped by Boko Haram, and they killed her father and 3 older brothers, and they kidnapped her and her younger brother, who was 5 and they were taken to separate camps. And she was forced to marry someone, one of the fighters, and he had a laptop that he would be watching violent videos on. And she saw a video of her little brother with a gun, AK-47 or something, being trained to be a soldier. And so they abduct little kids, and that's all they know. And you're certainly in a situation of like, if you shoot this gun, you'll get more food or whatever, or something like that.
That's the other thing, is that I'm sure there's people that are just like, okay, well, if I don't do it, then what's going to happen to me? And that's sad too.
Yeah. And they had this, like, and one of the things that happened in this book is she was kidnapped with one of her friends that was kidnapped with her did wind up being brainwashed, and she said something or rather that they were both married off, but this woman liked her husband or whatever. And so she said, the main person said something rather that was considered blasphemous, and her friend told on her, and she was beaten and punished. But I mean, it was almost like worse to know that your friend had turned against you.
And what was she hoping that she would get some type of leniency? Like what was her friend's motivation for doing that?
Her friend had been brainwashed. Her friend believed that she was being blasphemous, so she reported it. Yeah, she believed that, and I think it's also just fear that when you're living in fear, you think like, well, if this is heard and people know that this is my friend, I might be in trouble too. So yeah, so that was why. And she was eventually reunited, but then, I mean, she was pregnant at the end of the story, and it didn't say what happened. It was kind of like a composite, I think, because it was by journalists, but it was a novel kind of. So yeah, because I really wanted to know what happened.
What book was this?
It's called Underneath the Baobab Tree, or Baobab Tree. I don't know how that's a tree in Nigeria. I can send you the link to it.
Okay. Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what's going on in Nigeria. There's Nigerian authors I really love, and so that's what got me interested in that country. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I first read her novels like 15 years ago, and it got me interested in Nigeria. And her book, Half of the Yellow Sun, is historical fiction. It's about the Biafra War in the late 60s, which was Nigeria became independent from England, but in the 60s, but then they went into a civil war, which, you know, it's just, so far as I'm concerned, I blame colonialism for everything. If the colonialists just stayed the fuck out in the first place, then people wouldn't be having these civil wars. So that's what. So it's half of a Yellow Sun is about that war, but what it's also about is a real how a traditional family is also modern, and the main characters are they're the daughters of a tribal king, or king or chief or something, and so that is part of their life, but they're also completely modern. One is a professor, the other one is a business person. It's one of my favorite books of all time. And yeah, so I'm sending condolences. Chiamanda's father just died, and then her mother died. Unfortunately, and the book she wrote before that was a young adult book called Purple Hibiscus, which was also really good. Then her third book got a whole lot of attention, and it takes place in Nigeria and the United States, and it's so much less interesting to me to have the United States part. It's just, in other words, it's not nearly as good. And then Beyonce stuck her in a video. She unfortunately, for a piece she wrote about feminism, and I mean, I'm a massive feminist, but man, if somebody can write, it's just, I think it is so much harder to write a really great novel than to write about feminism. I can write about feminism. Anybody can write about it. So then she kind of became this person that she now does more speaking than writing. She put out short stories and that was it. I hate it when that happens, man. People get sidetracked. It's almost like if you don't pay when people get too much, I don't know, like, yeah, she should be, I mean, and who knows, like sometimes my dad has this theory that that most people only have a couple of good books in them and should only write a few, but maybe that's all she had and she should have quit when she was ahead. But yeah, so anybody have any thoughts? It applies to music. Okay, who can think of like, say, authors and musicians? Like, what are some musicians that really came out and did really great in the beginning, but then kept going when that couldn't live up to it?
There's a lot.
Kristen, you got it.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't begin to well, let's start with Roselle. Why don't you tell us?
Yeah. Oh, let me just say something real quick, Kristen. The reason I just, for me, it's like, it's just real important to me to hear the whole piece of what you're. So I feel like when you start and we can't hear it, I hate to interrupt you, but we can't hear it. So
no, I'm bringing it closer to me.
Cool.
I got this little.
Because, it's so hard. I just hate to cut off your train of thought, but we want to hear you. But yes, DJ.
Ooh, there's a lot of one-hit wonders. I mean, I don't know, Mark Morrison. That's one. Paula Abdul. Yeah. That's another one. I don't know, man. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But she said people that put out a few really good songs.
Yeah.
And and then just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah. Or burned out or just fucked over. I mean, there's a.
Is it that, or is it, because that's the other thing that I'm wondering about when it comes to authors as well, is that, like, when you get into I don't know, like, when you get into the music industry, do they kind of, and you sign with a label, do they kind of like sway you into a direction of what they want you to sound like, as opposed to what you want the music to sound like? And yes. Is it the same way for authors as well?
Yes.
I think it's a little different between authors and musicians.
What do you think is different?
I think more with authors, I think whatever their style is, they stick with it a little more. That's how I feel about it. I mean, let's just say you read a Wes Craven book or something like that, right? It's always kind of a scary, it's always in that same manner. To me, it is.
Yeah.
You read a Harry Potter book, I mean, it's kind of the same narrative to me. Whereas musicians kind of can switch up sometimes.
The thing is, though, if Wes Craven, the similarity is, it's, there's the publisher and there's the music executive. Their job is to sell stuff. So publishers are the same way. If Wes Craven came into his publisher and said, like, hey, I want to do something different, they wouldn't want that. They'd try and talk him out of it.
Yeah. But see, with musicians, they're known to do that, where they can, like, if it's a new era. Like, I remember Janet Jackson tried that. She tried it once when she was gone, and she tried to come back. And I don't know if you guys know who Kaya is. Do you guys know who Kaya is? Yeah. My Neck, My Back. Her. She did a song with Kaya, like back in early. Yes, nobody knows about it because they got into it, but it's kind of like Janet Jackson doing a song with Kaya at the time. It's just, Janet Jackson was kind of older.
Yeah, because Kaya is she's doesn't seem like the type to work. Like Janet doesn't seem like she would work with her.
I know, but she was at the time she was trying to come back. She was trying to come
Okay.
back, but I think she was trying to come back like in a sexy way. But she's
But that's what I'm saying. But was that from her, or was that from the people that she worked with? Was like, well, this woman here has this crazy song about it and is very provocative, and why don't you work with her? I don't know. Like, do they do that?
My thing is, I don't think Janet could have came back being the original Janet at the time. She can't come back in 2000 being nasty Janet, nasty bull. I mean, she was done. That was her 80s, 90s was her thing. And then to come back in 2000, that was with the Little Kim, Little Kim, like the sex symbol time. And she was older now. So I don't know.
Is that when the whole what year was that when the whole Super Bowl thing happened?
Oh God.
Is that when
Yes, that was around that time.
Is that
Yes.
Fucked up, man. Nothing happened to fucking Justin, and it was his fault.
Right. And but it's now they're like, I mean, I'm hearing that it was planned. Why would you?
I think it was planned.
He's admitting that it was planned. What?
She was trying to come back at the time. I'm trying to tell you, she was trying to come back.
No, but check this out. You notice how when Missy Elliott played at the Super Bowl, right? And then that year, I heard my son and his friends playing her songs, and it's like, dude, this came out like back when like years ago, and now you guys are into it because they saw her during Super Bowl. All she had to do was play some old shit, and then she would have been relevant again. But when that happened, it was like, no, the titty came out, and she's banned, and it's like, oh,
yeah, it was fun.
But Justin was okay.
Man. At least Missy was like 2000. I mean, Janet, I don't know if she could have just came back and did a song from the 80s and just would have been like doing Rhythm Nation.
I think so. I think I really do.
You think she could have pulled it?
Yeah, people.
I really do. If she really had like, I really do. I really do. I really, really do. If she had just kept it like original, like true to herself, and she did that, but it's the Super Bowl, so of course they're like looking for whatever's, but I mean, I think she could have pulled it off had they given her the opportunity. She could have.
Basically it's a fucking brutal world, and that you got a bunch of people in that business that don't care about the artists, that don't care about the creativity, that just want to make money. And you've got they've got their agents and all of them. It would just be extremely, so you've got all these people invested in that are just trying to figure out what will sell.
So I got a question for you. If Madonna had a song with Cardi B and City Girls, do you think she could pull it off?
Yes.
So you think if Madonna did a song with Cardi B and City Girls, Megan Thee Stallion, all them type of girls, you think?
Why not?
Yeah.
Boy, I'd have to see that.
Why? They would have grown up watching her. Of course she.
We know who she is, but I'm just saying, like, she's sitting up here with Cardi B and the City Girls.
Of course, those ladies know who.
Okay, let's go with Kristen. Kristen has kids. You really think your kids would be like, oh man, that's Madonna. That's cool.
They wouldn't know who she was, but if they played like what, if they played one of her songs, and I can't remember the name of the song, but if they played that song after, like kind of in between the City Girls, and the Cardi B whole collaboration, if they played that song, then they'd be like, what song is that? You know, and I guarantee you, be on TikTok, it'll be on, somebody would be,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
Hey,
older
know.
people team up
I don't know.
with young stars all the time. I mean,
Yeah. I can see that. Okay, Rosa.
Yeah. Madonna would be coming in like trying to take over the whole thing. Like, okay, you two can be my backup Dan. I mean,
exactly.
Exactly. That's funny. I've just been listening. I'm listening to a new podcast, which is about secrets. And I just was listening to one where they were interviewing a guy that was a dancer on Madonna's Truth or Dare tour, the one that they did a documentary of. And that's when they were promoting, that's when I don't really remember because I wasn't paying them attention to that stuff at the time, but she was really at her concert, she was really promoting like safe sex, big time. And so the secret was this guy was only like 25 years old, and he found out he was HIV positive, and this was like the 80s. This was like, you know, that would have meant like all these people he knew were dying, but he kept it a secret. But he was talking about, I guess in that film, that when they're playing Truth or Dare, him and another dancer kiss each other, and he got letters. He said he got tons of letters from boys that had seen it and were just like, wow, it was amazing. Like, wow, I'm not alone. There's people like me. And I mean, it was interesting because it was to look at the social effect that something like that had. But, you know, I mean, he's still alive. So yeah. He said it was pretty great. And he said that like Madonna's there the whole time, like most stars and whatever, they're not there for like the first or second or third rounds of auditions, but that Madonna was there the whole time. And Madonna called him to tell him that he'd gotten the part. So yeah. I mean, I was in high school when Madonna started making it, and nobody had seen anything like her before, you know. I mean, nobody looked like her. Well, no, I mean, actually a lot of people did look like her. A lot of people dressed like her. She was just totally of the moment, but nobody acted like her.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd have to see what that would be like with her, Cardi B, and City Girls, because Madonna would have to twerk at one point or do something. It just wouldn't look right.
Of course she would.
She
And
does already, man.
In the universe, so it's going to happen.
Oh my gosh. You guys are giving Madonna some backup.
I mean, she's done stuff. She's done a lot of stuff with young entertainers. So I don't see why not. But okay, swinging it back to the whole thing. Okay, I really wanted to like do a little full circle about there with like Chimamanda and Ngozi Adichie, and why I really hope she writes some more fucking books. Because the problem with fucking celebrity, you know. And okay, so yeah, so some of them, I mean, it's just, you hear about that all the so the podcast I've been listening to all week is about lies and secrets. So they interviewed the people that did Milli Vanilli. And they said one of them didn't speak English. I guess they were German. One of them didn't speak English very well. And so they were signed, they got their contract and whatever. And so the guy being interviewed said that like he could see his friend that like spoke English was talking with the managers or whatever, that he could see him getting like really, really agitated and upset. And he came over and he's like, they're not going to let us sing. Like they didn't know. They signed the contract without knowing that they weren't going to be allowed to sing.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
And he said that like once they
it wasn't their fault. It was
no.
Oh, that's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is fucked up, but they, we've had Samson McCormick on here before, who's this tremendously talented comedian and writer. And he was working on a film with somebody and got fucked over because he didn't have a lawyer to go over the contract with him because he couldn't afford a lawyer. So these people totally fucked him over with the film. So, that just happens with so many people. And, this would have been, Samson's real smart. He wouldn't have been like falling for like lies and stuff like that. But, you get some people that are like young and naive and somebody's telling them that they're going to be famous. They'll do anything. They'll do a lot. And
that's so sad that people can't use their creative ability, whether it be writing or directing or, making songs, and not be told, like they tell them, no, you can't do this way. This is how we want you to do it. Once they sign a contract with them, that's just so unfortunate that they can't, really express themselves. They have to go based off of what they sign on their contract.
Well,
because they don't.
Go ahead.
Because they don't have the money.
Well, they can if they decide not to pursue money and fame. I used to be a writer, and I used to really, if you can, you can do readings and stuff. There's ways, and it's just really, there's a lot of people can do community stuff and all of that to try and like get to try and be creative and do what they want. So there is that option. But if you're trying to like get money and a bigger audience, that's gonna be really hard. Well, that sure as fuck the story of like everything, of like Cadillac Records and all of that. Just people got fucked over big time. Oh, and then did any of you guys see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom? Oh, really,
What's
really
that?
good. It's on Netflix. It's the last film that Chadwick Boseman did. And
what was it called?
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It's on Netflix. Do you have Netflix? Yeah. It's with Viola Davis. She plays it's based on what's her name? It's based on Rosetta Tharpe, I think. And yeah, so it's based on a play. So it's about, a lady with a blues band, and then Chadwick Boseman plays the trumpeter who is trying, he's in this band, but he's trying to make it big, and he's trying to like slip his music to one of these executives.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they do wind up fucking him over. And you can see, like, when you first see him, you're like, whoa, what's his, so when I first saw Chadwick Boseman, I'm like, wait, what's with his face? I realized it was like, because it was like, he was all cheekbones. He was so skinny. So yeah, it's sad. It was the last film he did. He was really sick, but nobody knew. So yeah, it's pretty remarkable, but that's the theme there. Then it ends with, it turns out he did get ripped, they rip him off. So pretty old story. But, I was talking about that with Wayne, because I've always been around a whole lot of writers, and, like we have, like I just got somebody to illustrate the book I want to do, and yeah, it's just rough. I'm just going to get it going by myself, because nobody's going to publish, I can't just go what I wanted. I'm going to, I have a couple ones planned. I'm going to put out the first one and on my own, and then hopefully get a publisher after that. But
illustrations are really expensive.
Pardon me?
To illustrate a book?
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it's when you say expensive, I just I mean if you want a professional, I don't consider it expensive. I consider that I'm paying a professional to do a good job. And so yeah, I just, and I figured out how to, at one point I wanted to do all color, but we're going to do some parts in color and parts not. Cause I was like, I love art. I want color. But yeah, we don't say age on, people just, okay, Trika, Madonna would be, okay, Trika says, yeah, okay, so we're following with our friend Trika. It was planned, and Madonna, yeah, I'm not too sure what she means. Would be they will push that. Yeah. So that's Madonna, but yeah, I am pretty excited about that. But anyway, people, you figure, people figure out how to self-publish. Age was just showing me this book he put out ages ago. I'm like, he has done so much stuff. Oh my God. Yes.
Didn't he just publish a new comic book or something like that recently?
Yes, he did. And the problem is it's more expensive. I tried to order it, and the postage is twice what the book costs. The book is $4.95, and practically the book is $4.95, but then it costs $8 to mail it. I was like, Age, why don't you just can't I just give you $12 and you give me a book?
I was trying to buy one from him the same way. I didn't realize how he was doing it. And by the time I found the website, you're right, they were all sold out anyway. I guess he didn't have many of them selling.
Oh, well,
I tried to go on there. Everything was out of stock.
Really? The one he just put out?
Yeah, he had the one he just put out, and I think there was another one on there. I looked on the site, and everything was all sold out.
Fuck. Well, shit. Fucking USPS made money off of it. Well, yeah.
But you know what? That's the cheapest way to ship. So,
well, yeah. I just, we're having an author on here next week, and I went ahead and bought her book through USPS. I forget what it, but since I don't really know her, I was like, there was nothing I could do about it, but so it's really hard, you're like fucking trying to print it and stuff, but but so anyway, it's just exactly the same with writers, and they have if you you have to submit a proposal usually, or to get a contract, to get an advance, and then you can get an advance for your book, and that means you've sold it, but then you need to sell enough books to cover the advance, and if you don't, you have to pay it back.
When you say advance, do you mean they like your idea and then you could use the advance towards an illustrator?
No, I'm talking about books.
That's what I'm saying. For books, if you you were saying about advance, is that just
for? Well, yeah, I'm actually not even. I'm just talking about books now, because that's more because that's kind of the thing that I know. Yeah, just payment. I mean, for your work.
Okay, because I was just wondering, like, so when you say like you get an advance, so that's just payment for the books, but it's already like put together already that
No,
like if you have
if
illustrations.
if you submit a proposal or draft to a publisher and they like it, they'll give you an advance to finish it.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah, and that's something I'm not even bothering to try and do at this point, because it's just not even worth the time. Nobody's gonna do that for me. But yeah, I mean, there's people that I can't. I mean, I've known people that were like successful. I mean, even being a pretty successful writer, most writers still teach. Or have other jobs. It's very difficult. And it's gonna like J.K. Rowling published books. Well, she published books under different names because she wanted to see if she could be recognized as somebody other than J.K. Rowling and get published. I know that there's people that are going to say that they knew she was J.K. Rowling. I know there's people that say that. But wow, we're like getting close to the end pretty soon, so I just want to get back to a little bit of world news. We're having lunch tomorrow, right? Yes. I went to a like community kitchen sort of breakfast. It was like a gathering sort of thing. I mean, it wasn't an actual restaurant. My friend it was like community kitchen, but it was so cool. You went in there and got food and ate with people. It was so nice. And that was my friend.
We're around people.
Huh?
You said we're around people and we're socializing again.
It was so nice. Oh, but so then there was a young man there that's like the brother of my friend Jamila, who was talking about like some sort of like trading stuff he's doing. And I was like, okay, well, what is the potential for losing? Me and Jamila were like, yeah, okay. But I told him my goddaughter does stuff like that. And I said she does Forex, and he's like, oh, I want to do that. So I was like, okay, I'll connect with you guys. This is like, I'm real skeptical, but you're adults. So my goddaughter can be like, don't say that I don't support you, because I do. Whatever, even if somebody else wants to get in on this because she was I was like, wait, you're talking about making millionaires? Are you a millionaire? Like, hey, I'm like, okay, if you become a millionaire, you need to be then next time we go out for dinner, you're paying. So yeah, we got to get her on here sometime to talk about this stuff. But okay,
so that place that's behind my house next to the Empress, there's like a weird, I don't know what it is. Is that a restaurant?
Yeah, Provisions.
What is that?
Yeah, it's a restaurant.
Oh, have you ever ate there?
A few times, not too often.
What is it? What kind of restaurant is it?
Expensive.
Everything.
What?
They have some of everything, right? Like they have some stuff that you could just pick up and.
Yeah, they have like takeout stuff too. Kind of, it's like fresh food. Really expensive. See, I like that's. Have you been? Oh shit, Brazil! You get home too late to go to the street taco place, Mexico place.
Where's that at?
Right on Georgia and Marin. $2 tacos.
Right next to Momo's.
Yeah. Have you been there yet, Kristen?
Oh wow.
No, I haven't.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
It took forever for them to open though.
I know.
It took them over a year, like over a year to open, right?
Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about that place over here.
Yeah, Roselle, I've been talking about it.
That was weird. That place looks weird. I didn't know what that was. I saw a line there once. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah. They have
So the tacos are good?
Yes. And the
Okay.
homemade tortillas, they're really good.
Whoa.
Yeah. But what's weird is like, okay, their tacos are $2, and over at Provisions, they have some sort of like taco dish for like $15. It's so crazy. But I'm like, I don't see how the hell they're even going to stay in business with $2 tacos, but they have and they have horchata. I love horchata. But yeah, they close at 6:30. So
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but
I've driven by there and seen the little line. I didn't know that was that they sold food there.
yeah. Provisions is really expensive.
I do like their mushroom and artichoke quiche because I love mushrooms, and they put like a shitload of mushrooms in
Oh,
there.
do they? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That I do like that there. Yeah. But
They have
it is
seafood?
pricey. So that's like a
They have
treat day.
seafood?
Huh?
They have seafood?
Do they have seafood?
Yeah.
They mix it up. They're one of those. I mean, because they mix up their menus a lot. So yeah, they probably do sometimes. It's the sort of place I think that they'll have a few they just have a few dishes at a time. I think
Kind
that
of like a seasonal type of thing,
Yeah.
where it's like
gotcha.
the next few, like these 3 months we're gonna do this, and then but they'll still have like some things that are kind of like regular things, but it's
Yes.
not a lot. Like, yeah, because I went there
Trika.
last. I went there last.
$2 tacos. Yeah, Trika, you need to come. I mean, you need to come up here because this place is right down the street from Roselle. So we have a taco date. Yeah, so it's a different, and yeah, they have like $12 cheeseburgers or something like. So, well, but what they do have is hard kombucha. So I've been going in there and getting their hard kombucha.
Hard kombucha. So, what is that?
Kombucha with alcohol. Even though I've learned that like kombucha has alcohol in it anyway. Somebody told me that, and I was like, wait a minute, I drink that shit in the morning. I mean, like, how can you just sell something? Because there's one brand.
Best.
Oh yeah, I was like, wait a minute. It's like I drive.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, well, they but then they'll have the hard kombucha is like 7%. It'll be like 7% or something. And they have like hard cider. I don't like beer. I like hard cider. So yeah, and they have singles, which I like if I can't, because I am not going to buy a 6-pack of that stuff because not even worth it.
Vegetarian or vegan or any food restrictions or what?
Me? No.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, so closing with Uganda. This has been since their election. They've had a lot of human rights abuses, and the son of the president, the son of Prime Minister Yoweri Museveni, has been accused of crimes by the ICC, by the International Criminal Court. So Uganda now has a sex offenders registry, and for the first time ever, there's legislation on harassment. Okay, but this is bizarre. Okay, there's legislation on street harassment, public sexual assault, as well as harassment in professional settings has been introduced. Catcalling, indecent public exposure, or demanding sexual favors in return for a job or academic progress has been made illegal. And I'm like, what? Like, okay, how that's that? Like, I'm all mixed up. Like, yeah, okay, indecent public exposure, demanding sex, like, yeah, I am all for that. If you put catcalling in that, then that's messed up. I mean,
that could be several different things, you know, like how do you make the decision to decide what that person said is catcalling?
Well, kind of by definition, catcalling is like somebody like whistling at you or like saying like, hey, hot stuff or whatever, or whatever, like, or whatever's, but you know, kind of by definition.
But that's what I mean. Like, what if someone says, oh, your toes are so pretty? Like, is that catcalling?
Well, catcalling by definition is like calling.
How do they define that?
Calling part.
How is it defined? You know what I mean? Like, how do they
kind of like what I said, like stranger, it means like a stranger calling to you or whistling or something like that. But what I'm saying is that making that, like putting that in the same level as sexual assault and demanding sex for jobs, that's just like, wait, no,
I get that. I get that. But at what limit, like at what point do they feel like that was catcalling? You have really nice ankles. Is that like at what limit?
If you yelled it across the street at a woman you didn't know, yes, that would be catcalling. Hey, nice ankles, baby.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And then it's not the same as somebody demanding sex for a job. Like, wait a minute, guys. I mean, it's and Uganda still has punitive laws against being gay, which is a big problem. So it's sort of like, yes, I approve of punishing sexual assault, but don't crack. You know, if you're going to you need to crack down on some things without cracking down on everything, you know, and like, you know, maybe like yelling at women across the street, you know, that might be disrespectful, but I don't want anybody to go to jail for it, you know. Crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah, okay. I knew Trika would have something to say about this. Yes, everyone would be in jail in Cali. Yes.
Oh, yes, that's for sure. Everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of guys in Oakland. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I remember one day I was walking home and I had earphones in and I had hit this part of the street that always my service would cut off. And the music would stop playing, but I just would keep my earbuds in there anyway. And I had on like this red pea coat and some black pants, and I'm just walking down the street, and someone was like, "Hey, Little Red Riding Hood! Hey, Little Red Riding Hood! Hey, little," and I was just ignoring the person. Yeah. And then he was like, "Well, fuck you, that bitch," and I was just like, "Okay." And so I just kept going, but it's like. I mean, sometimes, you know, you just don't want to be bothered, but at the same time, it's like, like I'm not Little Red Riding Hood. And I mean, you could also come across the street and say, "Hey, I like your coat," or, you know, what's your name?
I'd rather
or
somebody
you know?
Stay the fuck across the street.
But yeah, exactly. But it's just the fact that you were calling from across the street, and
that makes it a cat call.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, and all of San Diego, LOL.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, like, okay, come on.
San Diego
like,
too.
Yes, crack down on sexual assault and sexual harassment at work, and and just leave catcalling out of it. Okay. I mean, sometimes stuff like that will just make me like laugh. I mean. Yeah, so okay, so we are going to be back next. We'll be back. Okay, so congratulations to, maybe they should have a baby shower for the pregnant mommy.
make something next week.
Okay.
For the
okay. Or gender reveal. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I'll make something. Hell yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
All right.
So, okay, this has been another night of Global History Radio. And yeah. So, okay, we're up. Thanks to all the listeners. Everybody can tune back in tomorrow night for Know Better, Do Better.
Yep.
Let's
do it.
Yeah, let's do it. And we'll be back next week at 8.
Yes, we will.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, y'all.
Night.